So this is a story. This is a story about making decisions, like a fight or flight situation. You know, when you're in that moment, you just don't know what to do. Are you going to fight or are you going to run? You know, it's one of those kind of situations. So it was just one of those strange anomalies. Both my little brother and I, we were both leaving the country on the same day. We were both flying out of PDX, Portland. And, you know, my little brother and I, we were going to different places in the world. I was going to Antarctica to begin a 6-month tour of duty working as a cook at the McMurdo Research Station. And my little brother, he was going to Amsterdam to go start living with his girlfriend. So we decided we're going to hang out in Portland, hang out with my parents, you know, for one night before we go off in our separate directions. So we were hanging out that night. We're hanging out with my parents. We're sitting around the dining room table. We're talking about our new adventures. And man, there's no better feeling. There's no better feeling than starting a big new adventure. I love that feeling. I love that feeling. So we're talking about our new adventures. You know, I was 27 at the time. My little brother was 24. You know, and at those ages, the possibilities are endless. You know, it's great. Those are great ages. So we're hanging out with my parents, you know, and my parents, they have to work in the morning. So, you know, they say they're going to go to bed. And my flight the next morning, my flight was at 1. My little brother's flight was at 3. So we don't even have to set our alarm. So we decide to continue the party downstairs. Now my parents' house, you know, in Southeast Portland, it's one of those ranch style homes. There's 3 bedrooms upstairs, but then there's a full basement, you know, with a little family room and 2 bedrooms downstairs. So we go downstairs, we're drinking beers, we're talking about, you know, what we're gonna do, the excitement of this new adventure, we're laughing, shooting the shit, and we go to bed at like 1 in the morning or so. So I'm kind of surprised when my little brother, he's shaking me awake in the morning, shaking me awake, and I look over at the alarm clock and it says 7:30. Now my parents had already gone to work. My dad left at like 6 and my mom left at 7. So I'm looking at the alarm clock and I'm looking at my brother and I'm like, what are you doing? And he looks down at me with these really serious eyes. He's like, there's somebody in the house. There's somebody in the house. I'm like, there's nobody in the house. And then I hear the footsteps. They're moving quick from from the living room to the dining room to the kitchen, back and forth, moving quick. And these are definitely not the footsteps of my parents. So I stand up out of the bed, and both my brother and I are standing there in just our boxer shorts, and we're looking at each other, you know, scared shitless, and we're listening to the footsteps upstairs. So we hear the footsteps, you know, they're running around, and then they go into the hallway. And there's a hallway from the living room that leads to the 3 bedrooms upstairs. And we hear the footsteps go into my parents' bedroom and just start tearing the place apart. Just pulling drawers out, obviously looking for shit to steal. Now this was the beginning of cell phones, you know. My dad had like a BlackBerry. It was the BlackBerry ages, but I didn't have a cell phone, neither did my brother. But there's a landline downstairs. I was like, all right, call 911. I was like, I'm going to go get some weapons. We didn't grow up in a house with guns or anything, and I figured, you know, we needed some weapons in this situation. So my little brother, he gets on the phone, you know, and he's like, there's somebody in the house. I live at 14233 Southeast Stevens. There's an intruder. We're downstairs. Starts going off, giving all the information. And I tiptoe upstairs. The way that the house is set up, the stairs lead up kind of the dining room close to the kitchen. And this guy, he's down the hallway in the bedrooms just tearing the place apart. So I tiptoe up, go into the kitchen, I grab 2 butcher knives off like the knife rack, and I tiptoe back downstairs. We get to the bottom, I hand my brother a butcher knife, and I got a butcher knife, and we're standing there just listening to the guy upstairs just tearing the place apart. So we're standing there listening to it, and the guy finishes with my parents' bedroom, and then he goes to the 2nd bedroom, further down the hallway. He just starts tearing this bedroom apart. You know, I'm standing there and I'm starting to freak out a little bit. I need a game plan. Like, what are you going to do? It's like as soon as this guy finishes with the bedrooms, he's going to come downstairs or something at some point. And I was thinking hide in a closet. Could you imagine being caught in a closet, cowering, in your underwear? I mean, talk about a shitty obituary. We found the two brothers like dead in the closet, cowering together. It's like, no, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. So I'm thinking, I'm just racking my brain. You make split decisions in this situation. So I say to my brother, I was like, I'm going to scare the guy out of the house. I'm going to scare the guy out of the house. And he's looking at me like, I don't know if this is a good idea. I was like, because you understand, like this guy, he had no idea that we were even there, and he had no idea what kind of weapons we had. So this guy, we hear him, he's upstairs, he goes from bedroom number 2. Now further down the hallway, he enters the 3rd bedroom. Further down the hallway, he just starts tearing that place, tearing that bedroom apart. And I know we're getting close, like he's gonna come out of that bedroom really soon, so I need to act. So we tiptoe up the stairs, I was like, I'm gonna scare him out of the house. Brother's like, okay. So I tiptoe up the stairs, and we go into the dining room, and as I get around the corner, kind of entering the living room that leads to the hallway, I look down. In front of the fireplace, there's this pile of drywall debris. I'm looking at that like, what the fuck? And I look up, and there's a hole in the ceiling right in front of the fireplace, like this circular hole. Looked like Santa Claus was drunk, missed the chimney. So I'm looking at like, and that just, that, I was like, ooh, I don't know if this is a good game plan anymore, because that's a whole nother level of crazy. That meant the guy had been in the attic, how he got there, have no idea, and he's not smart enough to figure out like walk on rafters. He's like, nope, just gonna step through, boom, fell through the ceiling. That's a whole nother level of crazy. So I'm standing there, but at this point, like, I'm all in. I'm all in. So I kind of get in a crouch position. I figure I'm going to block and stab if he comes out of the hallway, And I know I need to give a great performance, like a Hollywood performance. So my brother, he's a few feet behind me. I'm sitting there, I was like, oh, fuck, okay, here we go, Take a few deep breaths, and then I let it rip. I'm like, motherfucker, I got a gun and I'm gonna fucking shoot you. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna fucking shoot you on the count of 3, motherfucker. 1, 2, 3. And then we just hear this chaos of sound, in the back bedroom, just glass shattering and everything breaking and glass shattering. And then it's quiet. Dude had broken out the windows and jumped out of the window. Plan worked. So I'm standing there with my brother. We're standing there in our underwear holding butcher knives, and I'm just shaking at this point. We're just shaking with adrenaline. I was like, what do we do now? He's like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know. It's like, I think we should get out of the house. He's like, yeah, let's get out of the house. It's like, should we go out of the front door? I was like, I don't know. What if he comes around? It's like, okay, I don't know. Let's go out of the back door. Let's sneak up and go on the dog run on the other side of the house. I was like, okay. So we decide to sneak out of the back of the house and go up on the dog run on the other side of the house. So we go out of the back door and we go up and we go along the dog run, heads on swivels, just looking for this guy, not watching where I'm walking. And as I'm walking through the dog run, I just feel this warmest pile of slippery shit beneath my feet. I'm like, oh God, I kick the dog shit off. And we just keep walking. We get up to the fence, unlock the gate, we're looking around, okay, no sign of the guy. And then we walk out onto the street. We walk up where the mailbox is. So we're standing there, in our underwear, holding butcher knives, looking around, and then we see the cop car coming from the end of the street. And just this wave of relief washes over me. I'm like, oh, thank God, the cops are here, thank God. So the cop car comes zooming up, hits the brakes. 2 cops jump out. They pull their weapons and they're like, drop your weapons now. Brother and I, we throw our knives to the ground, put our hands in the air, and we just start giving information like, we're the ones who made the call. There's 14233. My parents are Kevin and Kathy Holmlund. Their phone numbers are 503-256-9922. We're just giving all the information that we can. So the cops, they relax a little bit because they can see that we don't have any more weapons on us. Obviously, we're in our underwear. You can't hide anything else. So we're standing there. And one of the cops, he starts dialing on his phone, he starts calling the numbers that we gave. And then the other cop, he's still skeptical. He's like, what are you doing at your parents' house? What are you doing? It's like, we're both flying out today. He's like, oh yeah, where are you going? Little brother's like, Amsterdam. He's like, where are you going? I'm like, Antarctica. Puts his hand right back on the gun, We're like, whoa, 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 whoa. I mean, talk about like those kind of answers, I wouldn't have believed that shit either. And then the other cop making the phone call, he's like, hey, these are actually the sons. They're actually the sons. The cop relaxes. Like, okay, everyone relax. Like, okay, we're relaxed, He's like, can you bring us inside the house? I was like, okay. So we walk up to the front door. We know where the hide key is, lets the cops know that we're actually the sons. So we unlock the front door, and as soon as we walk into the house, you see the pile of drywall debris right in front of the fireplace. And all of us look up at the hole in the ceiling, and the cop's like, do you know why he was in the attic? We're like, He's like, do you have anything expensive in the attic? We're like, He's like, what the? And then we hear the cop, his radio goes off, and we hear this like, beep, 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 beep. We got him in custody. The cop's like, okay, just stay here. And the cop, he walks out of the house and he goes out onto the street. And of course we follow the cop, and we're standing on the front porch. And we see this guy being led up the street. He's in handcuffs. He's got a cop on each side of him. And this guy, he's wearing black jeans, black cowboy boots, and he's got a black button-up shirt, collared, long sleeve, and a little black Stetson cowboy hat. And it looked like the guy hadn't slept in years. He's just mad dogging, like, looking around, looking at us. I'm like, oh, Jesus. And they stuff him into the cop car. And I'm standing there on the front porch, and I just start shaking. Because when you're in that fight or flight situation, you don't really have emotions. But then it all just kind of caught up with me. And I'm sitting there just looking at this guy and just start shaking. Because that could have gone south. That could have gone south on me. He was definitely the type of guy who would have a gun on him. Block and stab. That guy could have just walked out and been like, yeah, pop, pop, and shot me, That could have really gone south on me. And I'm standing there and I just start laughing a little bit. Because, like that phrase, gone south, I just stand there, nothing like finding a little humor in a situation. And I just keep thinking about that phrase, gone south, Because honestly, like later on that afternoon, my flight was leaving at 1, and I was going about as far south as humanly possible. You can't get any further south than Antarctica. And I just kept thinking, remember when I was talking about the beginning of the story about that feeling when you're starting a brand new adventure, like that, all the possibilities. Well, it turns out when you're starting a new adventure, you have no idea just how far south you're actually going to go. Thank you.